Hello everyone, I am Punyakirti BL. Welcome to my Python for Generative AI learning series. In this series, we are focusing on Python basics that will help us to build a strong foundation for implementing generative AI concepts. So let's dive in and start today's session. So if you found this helpful, please subscribe to my channel for more videos. Let's start today's topic: master file reading in Python. Read, tell, uh, seek, and cursor explained. So we'll start with introduction. In the previous lesson, we learned how to open a file and read its entire contents as a single string. In this session, we will go a step further and explore how to read only specific parts of file using the read method. We will also look at two important file handling concepts in Python: the cursor, the position tracker inside a file, the methods tell and seek, which helps us to find and move the cursor within the file. By the end of this lesson, you will understand how Python keeps track of where you are in a file and how to control it. Let's start with reading specific portions of a file. Normally, when we use the read method, it returns the entire content of the file. But did you know that read can also take an optional argument that specifies how many characters to read? Let's start with some example. So in my example, what I am doing, I am taking a file which is available here, configuration.txt. This configuration.txt contains hostname is equal to AMD server. Now what we are going to do, we are just read that file first. So first example, I am taking f is equal to open, and first we will print the open object. Then how it will print, we can see f is equal to open configuration text. Then content is equal to f dot read 5 and print content. So host n. So it contains host name is equal to some value, but it is printing only first 5 characters. Here f of the read file reads only the first 5 characters from the file configuration.txt. If the file contains something like host name is equal to AMD server, then the output will be host n. That is what we saw in our output as well. Now those are the first 5 characters of the file. Let's understand continuing to read from the same file. After reading the first few characters, you can continue reading from where you left off. For example, content is equal to f dot read of 3 print content. Let's run this and see. As of now, we are reading from host n, and now we can run like this. So we are getting AME. So host NAME name we are getting. So from where it is stopped, from there we are starting reading. That is called continuing the read from the same file. This will read the next 3 characters right after the first 5. So if the file started with hostname is equal to AMD server, the output will now be AME. That is what we saw in our output. Python automatically remembers where it is stopped reading in the file. This happens because of something called a cursor. Let's understand the file cursor. The cursor represents your current position inside a file, similar to blinking text cursor you see in text editor like PyCharm or Notepad. Every time you read from a file, Python moves to the cursor forward by the number of characters you have read. So if you first read 5 characters, the cursor moves to position 5. If you read 3 more, the cursor moves to position 8. You can check where the cursor currently in using the tell method. For example, print f of tell. So in our position, so first we read, so we have read first 5 position, then later 3 positions. If I see the cursor will be in which position, it should be 8th position. Now we are able to see, right, 8th, because first we read 5 characters, then we read 3 characters from the file. Now it is in the 8th position. So this will print the cursor's position. In our case, it is 8. Moving the cursor with seek. If you want to move the cursor to the different position, for example, back to the beginning or somewhere in the middle, you can use the seek method. Now the syntax is f dot seek the position value. Here position is the number of characters or bytes from the start of the file. For example, move the cursor to position 2 and read the next 3 characters. Now we have f dot seek 2, then content is equal to f dot read 3, print content. Let's see, in our content we have hostname is equal to AMD server. What it will print? Now it will move to second position. From there it will read three characters. How it will read? See, STN. So what is the content you have? This is the content. Hostname is equal to AMDR. So AMD server. Now we are getting STN. STN means, so move to second, 0, 1, and we are getting STN, three characters. These are the three characters it is printing, STN. That's because the cursor started position 2 after HO. The position 0, 1, the 2 position is S, and reads the next three characters STN. To go back to the start of the file, we can use f.seek0. A common beginner mistakes. Here is a very common issue that confuses new Python learners. Suppose you open a file and read it once. Let's try that. We read the data. Hostname is equal to AMD server. Now this will display the entire contents of file. Now if you try to read it again, what happens we can see. If I am reading again, I am printing, it is nothing printed, it is empty. Why? Because you will see nothing printed the second time. Why does this happen? Because after the first read, the cursor is already at the end of the file. When you call read again, there is nothing left to read. That's why it is printing nothing. So how to fix this issue? To read the file again, you must reset the cursor back to the beginning before calling read a second time. You can do this with f.seek is equal to 0, then print read. So what I will do, already we have print read. Before that, what I will do, f.seek 0, then I will print f.read. Now hostname is equal to AMD server. So again, if I try to print read, what happens? It does not print because it is already in the end. That's why again third time also you need to reset the cursor to first, then you will get the output like this. Now it will print the full contents again because the cursor has been moved back to position 0. Let's wrap up. In this lesson, we explored three important file handling concepts in Python. One is read of size, reads a specific number of characters. It takes input as size, how many characters we need to read. Then tell function shows the current cursor position. Seek of position, so position is the parameter from where it should start, moves the cursor to the specific point in the file. We also learned how Python automatically keeps track of where it last stopped reading and how to reset the position when needed. Let's recap. By the end of this video, students will understand how to read part of file using read of size, what the file cursor is and how it behaves, how to find the cursor's position using tell function, how to move the cursor with seek, and why calling read twice give no output, and how to fix it with seek function. So thank you for watching today's session. This is part of Python for Generative AI learning series. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to my channel for more videos. Also feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. The link is in the description. See you in the next session. Thank you very much.